Hello, this is Critical Nick and happy TWIDsday. Today is 8/28/25. So this is today's TWID for this week in Destiny. So before we get started with our weekly round of news for Destiny 2, we'd like to take a moment to touch on feedback and conversation around the portal and its rewards. So, portal progression updates. We initially outlined some goals on August 7th, dedicated to improving progression, increasing Crucible and Fireteam Op rewards, and addressing feedback around raid rewards. Last week, while we covered a handful of improvements to scoring and portal rewards, we also announced plans to tune some rewards down in solo and pinnacle ops. Based on player feedback, we're revisiting our approach to balancing progression, as we believe our previous approach was too conservative and these nerfs would work against our goals of improving progression. To be clear, we believe these changes were the wrong call. Hey, that's a victory, but that should have been done in the first place. That should have never even happened about nerfing solo and pinnacle ops. You should have just raised the bar for Fireteam ops rather than nerfing the other two. To be clear, we believe those changes are the wrong call. So we want all activities in the portal, solo or Fireteam base, to feel rewarding. We want our activities to contribute understandable and meaningful progress to your climb in power. As such, the following changes are being made immediately. Okay, so I'm wondering if that's a change that we actually already see. Oh wait, it's down here. Okay, so planned reductions to power earned for a given grade within solo ops have been reverted. Okay, cool. Planned reductions of engrams earned in Encore, Starcross, and Whisper have been reverted, and planned change for prime engrams to require decryption in the tower have been reverted. Okay, so these are all planned. None of it's actually been implemented. They're just reversing the changes internally. Okay, let's continue reading. So, buffs to Fireteam ops. When it comes to Fireteam ops, we know that we have work to do. Here's a list of buffs we are planning on and some new changes that we're adding in response to your feedback. 9.0.0.8 already live. Increase match-made Fireteam ops time limits across the board. Expert's been increased by 25%, Master's been increased by 50%, and Grandmaster's been increased by a total of 75%. That's good. Ash and Iron. So this is the update coming on September 9th. Increase the number of drops for Liminality, Inverted Spire, and Onslaught Widow's Court. Activity timers have been rebalanced for solo, pinnacle, and Fireteam ops. Fireteam ops have a greater value for speed versus killing all enemies. New, increased number of drops for many more activities in Fireteam ops. Our team is still working on finalizing which specific activities we can buff up, and we will share more details after we finish validating this change. So, new, removing unpopular mods like Grappler from Fireteam ops matchmaking pool, though this will still be selectable when customizing. What? Okay, so let's reread this. So, new, removing unpopular mods like Grappler from the Fireteam ops matchmaking pool, though this will still be selectable and customizing. So, okay, so if you're matchmaking, Grappler won't be an automatic mod that's applied to the playlist. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, I kind of like it when it's a little bit random. It just kind of mixes things up for once, but I think I understand the change because that messes with people's builds. Let's continue reading. Okay. So, buffs to the portal rewards. So, the following plan changes are focused on increasing rewards or increasing rewards quality. Chance of prime engram drop per completion reward. Activities with more base completion rewards such as Liminality and Inverted Spire will provide more chances for prime engrams to drop. That's nice. This one's new. So we are working on creating a more consistent power reward experience for the upper power climb. In Ash and Iron, this will be power 500 to 550. Okay. So I'm wondering what this is. Like, does it mean that they're going to increase the amount of prime engrams that drop. I'd be interested to hear more about what this is. Okay. So, and even more buffs. So in last week's TWID, we provided a ton of information about various changes in the data that drove them. Hidden within were several buffs, small and large, which we wanted to scoop out of that doc to more clearly highlight the Desert Perpetual raid, weekly challenges added, improved gear drops, gear tier drops, gear attunement added. So we can, okay. So weekly challenges, improved gear tier, and gear attunement. Okay, and in the portal, time bonus earned will grant 5% minimum score if you make timer. Your account highest power will be used for reward score rather than equip power. That's nice. You will no longer need to wear your highest powered gear while playing to get the highest score possible. Conquests are now replayable. That's great. So that's coming in. It says now replayable? I'm going to have to check that in the game. Okay. So in the long run, we are going to continue to be cautious about singular ops category or activity becoming the go-to for power leveling. We want Destiny to be a game where you want to hop in with friends to level rather than declining an invite to spend time in a solo activity for the sake of progression. In this case, we understand that alternate experiences need to be brought up a bit more to help these things feel good, rather than pushing other options down in the short term. And we don't want players who generally just want to play solo or pinnacle ops feeling like they're getting caught by a stray nerf. Our current approach is to bring options up and make sure they feel good before we look at the problem children. Well, that's your current approach. That wasn't what your approach was before. Our hope is to continue to iterate and improve the progression through the power band with these increases to Fireteam Ops, the portal, as well as combined with improvements to the Crucible we have made. Sorry, that was a very fucking long sentence. Our hope is to continue to iterate and improve the progression through the power band with these increased to Fireteam Ops, the portal, as well as combined with the improvements to Crucible we have made and the additional improvements to raid rewards coming in 9.1.0 as well. Now, on to your regularly scheduled TWID. Man, I cannot talk today. Holy cow. Reading is difficult. Okay, so this week in Destiny, we're bringing back heavy metal with a new event pass and new rewards. Make sure you get your Drake tanks polished and Fallen Brigs prepped for combat. We also have more info on our goals for different class fantasies, and some previews on the newest updates on weapon and armor exotic changes. Heavy metal returns next week. Class identity, defining Warlocks, Titans, and Hunters. Congrats on Destiny Rising's release. We've been playing that this morning. If you want some more, come check it out over at Critical Nick. So, highlighting the newest art drop for the Edge of Fate. The newest art drop for Edge of Fate. PAX West Community Meetup, and tune in to a creator lore panel. Oh, that's cool. Ooh. Heavy metal is back in the Crucible. The limited time 3v3 PvP mode is back. Hop into your vehicles and work with your team to destroy your opponents. With this comes new legendary weapons, cosmetic rewards, and an updated event home. Guardians who compete get the opportunity to unlock several rewards. A heavier duty emblem for reaching rank 5, a new sword holofoil for hitting rank 10, and a kinetic shotgun holofoil for hitting rank 15. Yo, that's going to be sick. I'm excited for the holofoils. I'm going to grind so much for that. All right. So, if you didn't earn it last time, you can also get the Griffin Exotic Sparrow for achieving rank 14 through the duration of this event. So there's the Griffin Sparrow. If you didn't get that, this thing is hilarious to use in the Crucible when sparrows are enabled. You just roll around in this thing and you can just shotgun people. It is absolutely hilarious. It's a good time. Try it out. Have some fun. Make some people mad. It's great. So The game mode itself will last for 7 days, starting on September 2nd and ending on September 9th. So make sure you play, as it will no longer be possible to use or claim these items after the event ends. Twitch drops will be available throughout the entirety of Heavy Metal. Watch a participating streamer on Twitch for 1 hour between 10 a.m. Pacific time, September 2nd, and 10 a.m. Pacific time, September 9th, to receive the Mad Dog emblem. So there's the Mad Dog emblem. So come by, watch the stream, and pick this up for yourself. Class fantasy in Destiny. So they kind of touched on it last week or like 2 weeks ago. I'm not really sure. So, but they're talking about like which one's going to be more fun. Like they're trying to basically narrow down the class fantasies and make them more distinct. So let's read about it. So when you boot up Destiny 2 for the first time, your Guardian class is the first choice you'll ever make as a Lightbearer. Do you want to be the floaty one holding the fireball, the slender one with the cape and blade, or the big one with the single monstrous shoulder piece? Each Guardian class is a unique fantasy that players assume as they play. When we talk about fantasy at Bungie, we often split the term into emotional fantasy and mechanical fantasy. To oversimplify, emotional fantasy is how you feel when you play, and mechanical fantasy is what you do when you play. When it comes to mechanical fantasy or the gameplay role that the classes play in combat, Destiny's classes don't have the hard lines that some RPGs have. This is partially due to the demands of a fast-paced action game, but also because Guardians are tiny gods with the power to cross lines and break rules. We don't have a dedicated healer class or DPS class. Yes, we deliberately give you certain classes more access to some keywords to reinforce their class identity, but rarely do we give them exclusive access to a keyword. After all, if the classes have equal access to everything, what's the point of having classes to begin with? So today, we're going to dive deeper into class identity and talk about our upcoming plans for each class. Some of these changes will come in release during the month of September, others in October, and others still in Destiny 2 Update 9.5.0 alongside the Renegades release and beyond. So without further ado, let's dive in. So that's pretty interesting. So they're kind of going over, like, there's no real mechanical fantasy hard lines that other RPGs have, which is true. Like, the only one that I can even think of is like the Warlock's like Well of Radiance. That's kind of like a healing but also like damage dealing kind of support role that Warlocks get pigeonholed into when they're in raids. And like Titans feels like it's just exclusively like damage based, you know, but like a lot of their other supers, like other than T-Crash that I can think of, don't really have a whole lot of roles in raids. I mean, yeah, there's some like I guess most of it is emotional fantasy. So I'm really interested to see what they come up with. All right, enough of my rambling. Let's continue on. So Warlock. So Warlocks weaponize the mysteries of the universe to sustain themselves and devastate their foes. The Warlock is the arcane spellcaster of the group. What they lack in strength and speed, they make up for knowledge and sorcery. They are the best at performing complex magical rituals that persist in the world. Warlock's universal class abilities give access to health, recovery, and ally empowerment. So, the Warlock traits are battlefield control, arcane abilities, and ally empowerment. Moving forward, we plan to do more to reinforce the Warlock identity. In the short term, we're working on enabling deeper build crafting and finding ways to give Warlocks more ability uptime. The Empowering Rift change coming in Ashen Iron update is part of this. So in case you didn't know, the Empowering Rift will now give more neutral abilities like over time. But in the longer term, they'd like to give Warlocks more mobile healing options and a passive benefit to match their other classes. Titans do bonus uncharged melee damage. Hunters have higher base movement speed. Oh, I kind of knew that, but So here are some of the upcoming Warlock changes we're working on. So, General, the following Warlock turrets will now count as grenades for stats and perks. Yes! Finally! Grenade kills. Oh, that's so great. Oh, yes. The Warlock buddies finally now count as grenades. That is a good change. I like this. I'm a Warlock main. I say it loud and proud. So, for it being the change, so that's talking about Ionic Sentry, Arc Soul, Hellion, Bleak Watcher, and Child of the Old Gods. Okay, and Empowering Rift. So I kind of touched on this earlier. We now generate neutral game ability energy over time. Kills while standing in Empowering Rift will now generate bonus ammo progress, 15% for special weapons and 10% for heavy weapons. Dang, they really want us to use Empowering Rift over Healing Rift. Well, I mean, especially if they're going to do this change where it's like we have more mobile healing options and a passive benefit to match the other classes. Dude, it might be like whatever they bring in with that and then having Empowering Rift on may be the go-to. Let's continue reading. So now we're on Titan. So they're disciplined and proud. Titans are capable of both aggressive assaults and stalwart defenses. The Titan is the knight of the group. What they lack in magical ability and range, they make up for strength and sustainability. They are the tip of the spear, creating cover to establish the front line. The Titan is not a traditional melee or tank class, but they have universal access to damage mitigation and increased melee damage. Titan traits: aggressive assault, damage mitigation, artillery expert. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wait, that's like that exotic where when you put down your class ability that those rockets come out. That's going to be cool. I want to see what they do. So, going forward, we'd like to get some more artillery expert flavor into the Titans kit and give them more opportunities to flex their tactician muscles. In the short term, we're working on some updates to behemoth abilities. Longer term, we'd like to make updates to Ward of Dawn and the Sentinel subclass. Among other things, here are a couple of the upcoming Titan changes we're working on. Howl of the Storm, the stasis aspect, will now grant 2 melee charges. Oh, very nice. Changed stasis crystal spawn pattern and added 4 more crystals. Bastion, the void aspect, will now have a faster cooldown in PvE. Those are cool. Admittedly, I don't play Titan too much, so I don't know how huge of a change this is. I do really like, I wonder what they mean by artillery expert. I'm really curious about that one. That would be cool. I want more rockets and grenades passively. That would be sick. Very, very sick. So continuing on, we are moving on to our hunter. So agile and daring, hunters are quick on their feet and quicker on the draw. The hunter is the rogue of the group. What they lack in brute force and sorcery, they make up for precision and agility. They're battlefield provocateurs, slipping into enemy ranks, leaving traps, and causing chaos. They quickly find new angles to attack from, dividing the enemy's attention to make them more vulnerable. The hunter's class abilities give access to directional speed bursts and damage avoidance. So, their traits: attack precision, infiltration, and damage avoidance. So, going forward, we'd like to give hunters more abilities to help support their fire team. In the short term, we're working on giving Gunslinger an update. Longer term, we'd like to address the feedback that Night Stalker relies too much on invisibility, among other things. Here are some of the other hunter changes we're working on. On your mark, solar aspect. Stacks of on your mark now give weapon stat instead of weapon handling and reload. That's nice. Max of 40 weapon stat at 10 stacks. Cool, so you can run a 160 build and get all the way to 200 when you use on your mark. That's nice. Rescaled stat count to a max of 10 stacks. I don't know what it was originally. Precision hits now give 1 stack. Precision final blows give 2 stacks. Precision final blows at 10 stacks now cure you instead of giving you radiant. That's going to change what's been going on in the Crucible lately, because you've been able to kind of just do precision hits and then throw your precision knife at somebody, your lightweight knife, and just get radiant, and then it just rolls into a snowball. Golden Gun, Deadshot, Solar Super now refunds ammo on Golden Gun final blows instead of on ignitions. Now extends super duration on Golden Gun final blows. Duration gain diminishes with final blows and grants less in Crucible. That's nice. Marksman dodge class ability now reloads all weapons on activation. That's nice. Now it picks up nearby ammo bricks on activation. Oh, dang. These are really nice. All right. So class identity wrap up. We love all of Destiny's classes equally, and we are dedicated to making sure that each has a chance to shine. We don't want any of our classes to be viewed as the DPS class. All three classes should be capable of roughly the same damage output. That said, there will always be certain builds that are more effective than others in different contexts. We'll continue to balance subclass builds to ensure that we don't have any clear win buttons and ensure that each class feels powerful. In the future, we're interested in doing more to make each class's identity more distinct, potentially through stronger passive effects for each class. However, this adds more complexity to an already complex game. Yeah, that Bungie spaghetti code for real. And the player experience comes first. We truly appreciate the feedback you've given on the classes, and we ask that you continue to provide feedback whenever you have it. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I like some of these changes. I really, really like the changes to Warlock, as I am a Warlock main. That's nice. I like having 2 damages or 2 melee charges for Titan. And I really am interested in like what this artillery expert like flavor into the Titan's kit means. I'm really interested to see what they do there. And then hunters, I like this here for the max weapon stat of 10 stacks. That's nice. Like, especially when you're trying to like build into like a weapons build, essentially. Like if you can get that max stat to 160 somehow, and then if you have like super ability, you can essentially do a weapon super build with this. I'm interested to see how this works out. All right, the Edge of Fate Art Blast. So scenery, from the beautiful scenery of Kepler to the new enemies, armor, and abilities that melded together to breathe life into the Edge of Fate expansion, the awe-inspiring Destiny 2 art team worked carefully to create something magical for the newest expansion. Now the team is sharing some of that art that helped turn the Edge of Fate from concept to launch. Check out the ArtStation article to get a good look at the art of the Edge of Fate and it's all in all its glory. So if you're interested in art, check that out. PAX West cosplay meetup. So PAX West returns to our backyard. For many here, this convention has spawned friendships, careers, and even lifelong partnerships. It's a special place, and we're excited to shine spotlight on community-driven Destiny community meetup happening on Sunday, August 31st at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Hosted by our good friends Air Bubbles and Lily Bean. A few of us will be attending PAX as fans, but don't worry, we're bringing some sweet loot for this meetup, including a handful of Edge of Fate collector's editions, some cooking recipes, and a couple smaller surprises. Brush up on your lore, adorn your cosplay, and head to the community room, which is in the Summit, room 437 at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Pretty sure PAX West is in Seattle, so if you're up there, might be fun to go check that out. Never actually been up there, even though that's kind of where I went to school. Would be cool. One of these years, maybe. Anyways. So if you attend, tag them at Destiny the Game, Destiny 2 Team. And then you can even do the hashtag D2PAX Meetup 25. Okay, so creator lore panel. So today, Som Lab will be hosting a lore panel for the Edge of Fate, running from Thursday, August 28th, 11 to 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 7 to 9 UK or 1 to 3 Central. Or CST. I think that's Central. I don't actually know. Actually, yeah, it is, because 1 p.m. Yeah, because if it's 11 a.m., yeah, it's difference 2 hours. Join creators Somlab, Bife, Abaddon, Moonvald, and more as they chat with Bungie's Hannah Flipsky. Sorry, Hannah. Destiny's narrative lead, and Nico Steven, Destiny narrative lead, on all things Destiny 2 lore and narrative. You'll have a chance to earn an all that emblem for tuning in, along with Edge of Fate game codes and a collector's edition. Tune into the stream or watch the VOD. Yeah, I'll probably end up watching that later. Destiny Rising launch. Today marks the launch of Destiny Rising. So, in celebration, brought to you by NetEase on Android and iOS, and on Moomoo, if you're using the emulator like I am. You can unlock an exclusive emblem, which looks like this. That's pretty cool. So, you complete the Bear the Light quest. Once you complete it, you can get a redemption code. Oh, man. I have to make sure I don't accidentally reveal that while I'm on stream. That would be real bad. And then this is what it looks like. You can follow the instructions here. We all know how to redeem codes. Okay, so last call to donate support for Ronald McDonald House Charities. So if you're interested in donating to charities, you can donate here. They're trying to raise money to help out kids. It's a pretty good cause. As far as I know, always do your research when you guys are donating. That's my advice. So you can get an emblem for doing a donation. All right, down into meat and potatoes. Player support report. The known issues list. So players who have Gladius armor ornament set for Titan equipped on PlayStation consoles will crash if they enter portal activities. I'm sorry. What? That's hilarious. So those affected are recommended to unequip the ornaments until the issue is resolved. That's freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh. Tempest Strike does not activate combination blow consistently. The red dot sight for the Antidate SMG is slightly off center. Oh, that's interesting. The duality dungeon is unable to be completed on master difficulty due to the bell's teleport not functioning. Oh, that's bad. Players are unable to complete the corrupted when it is active in the daily nightfall rotator due to the teleport mechanic not functioning. Players will encounter honeydew errors when selecting a portal activity and difficulty, then swapping gear and dropping below the power requirement. Dang. So if you guys have been experiencing these issues, try not to do any of this, use any of this stuff. So good luck with that. And then the artist of the week. Pretty cool artwork. VOD of the week. Pretty cool. All right. And that's it for this week's TWID. Are you planning on jumping into the very start of heavy metal, or maybe you want to dive deeper into a class fantasy info we just dropped and tell us what you think? We love hearing your feedback and voices, so keep the conversation going. We look forward to getting more updates from you guys in the coming weeks and appreciate all the feedback we've received so far. We are in this together. Destiny 2 community team. Overall, not a bad TWID. It's nice to hear that they're actually listening to us and making changes to the portal that we did not like from last week's TWID. Man, dude, last week we were up in arms over this. I'm glad that they're reversing it. Honestly, should never have happened in the first place, but you know, at least it's just not happening anymore, which is nice. Increasing time limits for fire team ops is good, but we want more rewards. We want it to be more rewarding, which is nice with this. With Ash and Iron, we're actually getting that. We're not getting it next week. We're probably going to get it. Well, not probably. We are getting it in Ash and Iron. It's nice that they're looking into this, but I would like to know more concrete details on this. That would be nice for the power climb experience from 500 to 550, because dude, going from 400 to 450 just sucks. I want to know what they're doing to fix that. And then I do like all of the changes that they're doing to try to make the class fantasy a little bit better. I'm interested to see what they come up with. I like the changes for Warlock. We'll see how Titan's artillery expert comes out. The Hunter's a little kind of weak, but you know, I'd like to see something a little bit different for them. They said they were going to change something about Hunter's Night Stalker relying too much on invisibility. So it sounds like you guys are getting a nerf, so that blows. But yeah, no, I like the idea of creating better class identities, so that's fun. So that's been this week's TWID. So appreciate it for stopping by. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys in trials. Please, if you see me, give me a break. I'm trying to get that flawless loop for tier 5 and make it to 450. Anyways, Have a good rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.